Okay. Today, I've got Neil here. Neil,
Howdy.
what's the company?
Custom Water Service. We do northern Ohio, east and west sides. Toledo, we've got some customers in Pittsburgh and up in Detroit area as well.
And I had Neil put in this great system in my home. I'm going to say maybe 3 years now. And usually every year I have to change out this tank. So why don't you talk about the system that you invented and how this works and what it actually does?
Well, this is a deionization system. I call it the Super Pure because it pretty much makes the purest water commercially available. The difference between a purifier and a filter is some type of media that has an affinity to one or several different contaminants, and it's only designed for pulling those contaminants out, whereas the deionization is designed for purification, so it'll actually remove everything from minerals and a host of anything that has a charge, which is pretty much anything in the water that's dissolved into the solution.
Do you have, maybe you could explain, there's two filters
In the back here.
Yeah, and explain what those are.
Well, the system's pretty user-friendly. If you take me on as a service provider, I'm kind of like the milkman in the sense of water, because these tanks will go bad. This tank is designed to do about 300 or more gallons of ultra-pure water with no waste at all, unlike into a reverse osmosis unit. So when the tank goes bad, we have a TDS meter that we give to our customers. The gooseneck faucet up on the top of the sink is where the water eventually comes out. But to remove or put the tank on is pretty easy. These quick disconnect pressurized fitting, whammo, it's already off. And then we take a new tank here.
What happens with the old tank?
I take the old tank to a processor, and it's run through a process, and it's very interesting because these beads are about the size of a grain of sand, and on each little bead you have like several billion places for dissolved atoms to attach, things that are dissolved to the point that they're on an atomic level. So it's kind of like as time goes on and the dirty water goes through here and the ions and atoms become attached to the beads, it's kind of like a Super Bowl event or a large event where the parking lot becomes filled up over time. And once the parking lot becomes filled up on the beads, meaning the spaces for the atoms to cling to the beads that have either a positive or negative charge, then you start to see the TDS of your water going from 0.000 total dissolved solids up to 001, 002, 003. If you let it go long enough, it'll actually be a little more than what City of Cleveland water is, which is about 140 on average, taking the water treated from the Great Lake Erie here.
And that 140 is parts per million, right? And that's like everything, including fluoride and whatever else is in the water.
Right. That's correct.
So basically, when you test this, it'll be a 0.0 parts per million. Now, real quick, I think we could tell our people that most of these systems, whether this system or reverse osmosis, a lot of them will cause the pH to drop a little bit below 7.0, and that's really important. You pretty much don't want to drink acidic water. So what you do in this case is you actually put in. Do you have that bottle?
I have it right here. Yeah.
And what is that?
These are concentrates trace mineral drops. Mm-hmm. They come from the Great Salt Lake of Utah, I believe. This company's been around for over 30 years because we've been doing work in several health food stores for several decades, and I've had two store owners from two separate stores tell me how wonderful this product is, and it's great for ultra pure water and taking out a little bit of the aggressiveness and boosting the pH somewhat.
And you want kind of a over 7.
It's putting the electrolytes in. You know, it's giving. See, we're electrical beings. You know, first we're spiritual beings. Second, we're electrical. Third, we're physical. So, this is giving us back the charges back too. This company has a lot of other products too. In the summertime, when I'm working outside, I mix these with their products called 40,000 volts, which is all the stuff you'll find in Gatorade without all the bull crap.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Excellent.
But before I put this back on, we normally when I do one of these systems, I start with a 1 micron polypropylene for sticks and stones and rust. large debris, and then it goes to a 5-micron industry standard carbon block, CTO, carbon, taste, odor for those things. It removes chlorine. Chlorine and city water, active chlorine makes up about 1.5 parts per millionth of the city water. The inactive chlorine, which meaning the left behind chlorine that's creating trihalomethanes and other things, that's about another 1.5 parts per million. But the chlorine tends to beat up the beads, so we at least put a chlorine filter or the carbon, taste, and odor, mainly for the chlorine and whatever. I mean, carbon's a wonderful substance. Even carbon as a standalone, running the water through that filter at less than a gallon a minute, even though it's not designed for lead, most industry standard carbon filters will remove about 50% of the lead present. So whatever's...
So old houses with old pipes, right? You're saying, and the old solder joints, that helps too, right?
Things of that nature, yep.
If people want to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you?
The best way to get in touch with me is my cell phone number. It's 216-287-9509 up here in Cleveland. I'm on the west side of Cleveland. And I have a wonderful website. I built it myself. Some pages aren't complete, but, high-tech, high-touch chat over the phone, and we can answer most questions.
Sure, and they can go to your website would be?
CustomWaterService.com.
Great.
Yeah.
It's back on. Go ahead. We're back.
So I kind of spaced out and forgot where we left off.
You were talking about you were putting in that system.
Yeah, and so if you look over here, most kitchen sinks have the cold water line coming up, and I use the standard John Guest ball valve shutoff, which releases pressure to the system. The new systems actually that I've been doing under sinks, if I do it under sinks, I recommend the customer gets a leak detector.
Okay.
And a leak detector is a nice little unit for an extra $100 installed. It sits under here, and if there's a leak, whether it comes from the plumbing or the sink or the unit itself, it will activate, start beeping. It shuts off pressure to the system, and you'll know because you'll come downstairs and you'll hear it beeping. You'll have to reset it to get the pressure back on.
Wow.
But water damages more homes than fire. You should know, right?
Yeah.
You're probably aware of that.
Yeah.
So, and we're dealing with water under pressure, so we occasionally have a leak. I'll be honest, but it's always nice if you. I recommend most cases, if you can, to put it in the basement, somewhere under the sink or under the kitchen, and we just run a line, and that way we can put a bigger tank.
And you could do the full house systems too.
Oh,
right?
yeah, we do a lot of full house systems. A lot of times we got a wonderful brand new media. It just hit the market. And see, the wonderful thing about deionization is the water comes out completely pure and you know what you got. It's absolutely pure water.
Nothing.
And what you do with it at that point is up to you. A lot of people say, hey, do you have systems that structure the water? Well, the water industry, there's a lot of claims out there by a lot of different independent companies. You might not see them have a booth at the WQA, but regardless, a question I get a lot is, hey, do you have any technologies that structure the water? Well, there's a lot of claims out there, but I don't have an electron microscope to, take samples of the water and test it. I think the best way to do that is to pray over the water, like that Japanese scientist. Are you familiar with that Japanese scientist?
No, I'm not.
Prayed over the water, and he did the pictures of the water molecules. He took pictures of water molecules around heavy metal music. He took pictures of water molecules around.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah, and we're snowflakes.
Yeah.
So no wonder we have a problem with Democratic snowflakes today.
All right.
Well, we should be snowflakes, but forgive that. But we should technically be big, giant snowflakes because 80% of our body is supposedly water.
So now, have you hooked this up now? Is this?
Oh yeah, it's ready to go. I just hooked it back up.
Oh, that was it. That was like
I'll do it again for you.
That was very quick. That's all. That's
it. That's it. These are really nice, high-end medical fittings here. You'll find these fittings like in a medical office, dentist office, or a doctor's office.
So now I don't have a leak detector as you indicated, but
No.
Is that something I should probably think about putting
I recommend it. You have a nice, beautiful wooden floor here.
And so if it breaks and leaks, it could be a
Or
problem.
there could be a leak from the plumbing or whatever. Yeah. But at least what it will do is if it starts beeping, if it's been activated, it'll shut off the pressure to the system.
Wow. So that's it. And those filters in the back you mentioned, when do they need to be changed?
Well, they last about 10,000 gallons. So most super pure customers, after about 3 or 4 years, you want to change them out anyways because they build up a little biofilm and what have you.
So basically, we're done, right?
Pretty much. I mean, we can, if you have a TDS meter, we can test the water, but I tested it before I came here. It should be 000. The wonderful thing about this water, too, is it's going to come out at more than a gallon a minute. You can fill up a jug incredibly fast. And with deionization compared to reverse osmosis, there's no waste. That's why I recommend that people that are in the city and they're paying for their water and they want ultra pure water or one of the pure water technologies, which reverse osmosis, deionization, and distillation all fit in, then I think the way to go is the super pure because you're not wasting any water.
And when you start from the system from the time you show up, how long does it take to actually put one of these in? Like under the sink?
The quickest I've ever got one in under the sink was probably like 40 minutes.
So about an hour, 2 hour range.
Yeah, unless you get involved in some good discussion and cups of coffee and things like that. Or like sometimes, we go into a lot of granite sinks. That's no big deal. A lot of the sinks are the best. I love just the plain old stainless steel sink because it's just quick to drill through, whammo. The granite sinks take about a few minutes.
So,
go nice and easy.
And so how do they get a hold of you?
216-287-9509, or you can go to my website, customwaterservice.com, or you can email me at thewaterguy216@gmail.com.
All right, so we're kind of done here, and this is our Sunday morning filter change. You guys have a nice day, and everybody, thanks for watching.